All right, hello. Welcome to the Eddie Conversation podcast. My name is Eddie Vigil. I am a film director living in Los Angeles, California, and I am your host. And joining me today is Emili Ziem. Hello.
Hello. Hi. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. I guess I was going to preface at the top of this too, that this is the first time I'm doing the virtual conversation setting. So thank you for being open to that. And I guess that was kind of the only way we're able to get this done, because where are you and all this? Yeah, where are you right now?
I am in Edinburgh, Scotland. So until I made my way to you, it'll be a long time. So for now, this is the only way we can do it.
Yeah, we'll have to. Yes, it's quite a distance. But no, it's very cool. Like that's kind of the beauty of, I don't know, I've definitely avoided doing the virtual thing because I much appreciate, I'm sure you do too.
Interaction is, is not as flowy, I guess, right? Online. What do you think?
There's an element that's missing for sure. There's a key human energy thing. Who knows what it is? I don't know. My hands are going everywhere, but yes. All right. So you are, let me just go to your Instagram. I like to use the Instagrams as a way to describe the people. Let's see, I'm pulling it up here. All right.
Oh gosh, in my bio.
All right, so you have, as far as the words go, you have a bunch of emojis, of course. But
I love emojis.
Yes.
I love emojis.
So you describe yourself as a microbiology, immunology scientist, and not a vaccine connoisseur.
Not a vaccine connoisseur.
So I was very curious to kind of dive into all of that, but I also know and this is kind of like one of the unique pairings that I kind of saw you as too. I was like, it's very, you do that, but you also model on the side, or like you are a model and you're also kind of like jumping into the acting space a little bit as well too, is what I heard. Rumors. So where do we start? What do you want to jump into talking the scientist work and kind of go from there, or the vaccine connoisseur thing that you are not?
The vaccine connoisseur thing. So, I mean, I've been a scientist for a few years now. I study microbiology and specialize in immunology, and then went straight into work for private companies. The vaccine connoisseur is because once the pandemic hit, people took their time to go around asking anyone that was within healthcare or science about this. And I got targeted a lot. I normally do anyway for, even before the pandemic, whenever people wanted to know about cancer and just diseases in general, they're always like, Emily, tell me about this. Is there a cure? And nowadays I get bombarded with people asking me, what vaccine is the best? Was the mRNA technology? Have you had the vaccine? Is this all some sort of conspiracy? What's going on? So that's why I put not a vaccine connoisseur in there, just to let people know, okay, my DMs are not open for me to give advice, so I don't get flooded with DMs of people going like, oh, so you're a scientist, please tell me X, Y, and Z. And I was like, well, the government already sort of gives general guidelines. Not up to me. It's not up to me.
So I guess can you I guess just to I kind of imagine this as a great opportunity to answer those frequently asked questions for people right now, and just kind of, so that way, ideally, if you still get a DM, you can be like, just watch the podcast, everything is there, and you can kind of shorthand it and kind of, so what can you answer those questions for the people that still ask? I could assume the answer based on your yes. What are the questions and what are the answers?
So I tend to get, what vaccine should I take? Which one is safe? And, the ones that are in the market, they're all safe. They will come at a certain percentage of efficacy, but that is, that is severely tested to get to that level. And if, it's been through all these very, very strict tests and it came out at 91%, that's really, really good. So don't worry about it. If it's on market, it's fine. It's fine. It's much less safe to catch COVID without knowing what's going to happen to you than to take the vaccine where everything's sort of controlled.
So the answer is they're all, it doesn't matter ish, like just get it is the okay, copy that.
Yes, as long as it's official vaccine, as long as you're not taking somebody's backyard, just take it. Fine.
It's just good general advice too, I think. Yeah. All right, you're gonna continue. Sorry.
Let me see what else I get asked. I get asked about whether this is a conspiracy, and if there's a microchip in the vaccines. I am not a big shot in science, but I truly, truly believe that that is just a big hoax. I don't think there is anything there to be worried about. And I've read so much evidence from people to suggest that that's the case. And I get sent this all the time. I always have a look at it. I'm not the kind of person, like, I'm not going to have a read. I'm like, okay, if I'm not going to believe in it, I need to know what it is. So I always have a read, and nothing's ever caught my attention so far. Quite often the things are quite, there's a lot of like scientific mistakes there. So it's always a red flag. So yeah.
Yes. I'm kind of trying to imagine how frequent those I'm kind of hoping that that's not a very frequent question that you get, but it's like a standout question. I just hope there aren't too, I don't know. I don't want,
but there is. And I am surprised about how young the skeptics are getting. So, around the time I was studying, I used to get a lot of the older generation coming up to me, asking these sort of questions and talking about, non-evidence-based science that's out there. And it was fine as I got used to it. But nowadays, it's a lot of younger people as well. A lot of Gen Zs are starting to catch on to that trend, and it's really strange to see. I never expected it.
Yeah, no, that kind of makes sense to me a little bit, actually, for some reason, because I know I can't speak for the world, of course, but I can speak for, like, I guess, like America, or like even like LA, or like the movements that are kind of going on with all of the systemic issues, and kind of like wanting to rebuild systems from the ground up because of all the just the history of the world. So I know there's a lot of skepticism on just systems in general. So then it would make sense that, like, oh, if I don't trust this, I don't trust the way this is built, and this is probably kind of layered in on that, and there's something wrong here too. So I should probably ask somebody who may know.
Yeah. And I think it's very good to question things. I think that's a good thing, but then you should question that source too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't trust anybody.
Yeah, that's why I always read. That's why I always take time to have a look at what is going on. So yeah.
Okay. So, great. Those are great. Man. All right. I did want to ask, since we're kind of on the topic of COVID, let's get this out of the way. Firstly, you did mention when we had a pre-chat a few weeks ago that you were on the team that helped develop the antibody test initially during the early stages of quarantine and COVID life and stuff. Does that, I didn't mishear that, right?
No, you didn't mishear that. Yes. Right. So I had I helped there a little bit with what I could. It was the very beginning of 2020, when the pandemic, was starting to make headlines. My company got in there to help develop an antibody test. The company I was working for was a diagnostics company, so they developed diagnostics. So it only made sense. So yeah, we did develop the equipment that we put it into was really high throughput as well. So it was really good, and it did aid in the vaccine development as well, screening blood samples for that. So yeah, that was a really, really busy time. It was quite crazy, just having to ram everything so quickly and still do it to the
standards.
To the standards that we normally do, and we did it. But yeah, it was crazy. It was the beginning of 2020. It was the first time I developed something within a few weeks. But it was really good experience. And I think that looking back at how I developed everything else, I'm like, okay, I learned a lot from it. And in a way that it is possible to do it in that time frame. So it was a great experience. And it felt really good to have me able to participate in that. And at the time, I just felt really cool. So it's nice looking back now and think that I was able to be part of it.
Okay, yes. That's funny that no, I mean, yeah, describing it as feeling really cool, that's kind of I like that. But yeah, no,
this is why I joined science to participate in something like this. So it was great.
Yeah, it feels, I'm assuming at the time it almost okay, I'm a big fan of the superhero movie genre. It seems like the task is at hand, the world needs us, we are here, we got to get this thing done. That I have no idea what's involved in the actual like day-to-day of that kind of thing, but that sounds very exactly like you said, like this is what I'm here to do. And
in reality, it's basically like me going to the lab, running some equipment, looking at the data and passing the data onwards. But inside, I did feel like a superhero.
Well,
only realize what's happening like when you see the bigger picture later on. But yeah, in reality, there is nothing glamorous about it. But
no, of course.
I like to fool myself into thinking it is glamorous.
No, it's very glamorous. I don't want to talk it down. It's very awesome. So where's my, as far as I don't know, let's talk a little bit about you and your journey and getting into this field in the first place, how that all started, if this was this a dream of yours to kind of jump into this field, and how early did that start? Were there any other dreams before? Where does the Emili journey begin in your eyes a little bit with where you are now?
So I always sort of knew I was going to science. There was never any doubt about it. Ever since I was very, very little. I don't know if anyone else feels that way. Some people go like, oh, I'm going to be an astronaut, I'm going to be a mermaid. I never really had that. I always wanted to do like experiments. That's what I wanted to do. I had this very famous in my life, the earthworm experiment, where I was told that if you split earthworms in two, they become two different earthworms. My grandpa my grandma's backyard, he had a little like soft soil area where he had earthworms because he likes fishing, but he had this giant earthworm. So I used them. I used to take, like 10 of them and split them and then use another 10 and leave them there as a control group and see what would happen. I split them into different places and in the end, I got to the conclusion that no matter how I split earthworm, they never turn into two, they always die. So this is the kind of child I was already strange. Okay, poor earthworms. I haven't harmed any earthworms since. But yeah, I've always sort of knew. During high school, I had questioned whether I wanted to go into physics because I really fell in love with physics. And I thought, okay, well, maybe, life sciences is really cool and I've always loved it, but physics is also really cool. And it would be a challenge for me because it's not something I've been always passionate about. Because I've always really, really liked, any sort of science to do with life, biology, and this, the sort of biology, chemistry, I've always been really good at. It's always made sense for me. And then once I fell into physics and I liked that too, I thought, okay, well, maybe if I explore that, it would feel challenging, and I would really enjoy that. But then I thought, okay, well, no, I think biology is going to be challenging anyway. I'll be fine. So yes, went straight into biology. But apart from that, one small doubt in high school, I've always knew that was the case. So yeah, it was not a decision. It was written in the stars.
So you like you said, because I know like science in general is very broad. Like you were kind of saying, there is this opportunity, there's that split that you were kind of coming up with between biology and physics. Like those are completely different. I feel like, yeah, I know like biology stuff, I could never handle that in school. I veer towards the physics side because I just recall biology as the textbooks of just memorizing all the little lines of, like, there's a picture of a cell and then you just have to memorize all the different parts of the cell, and I cannot do that. So I'm like, I'll go physics and do the math instead. But okay.
Weird. It's weird for people to prefer physics rather than biology. I always have that biology is much easier. But I guess physics makes sense, like it's, if you know the set of, like, you know how to do math, it's sort of like you can navigate through whatever.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, I mean that's because I don't, as far as myself, I guess, to divert the conversation. To divert the conversation to myself for a second, I went to, because I don't know if we talked about this last time, but, and your camera's falling over, but I went to college for engineering, on the engineering side. So I got to take all the sciences, like, the physics and the thermodynamics. Yes, it's been so long that I'm just like, I'm scarred from it, that that I've blocked it out. But yeah, going through all of that was I don't know. I'm sure, I feel like biology in the long run, and that kind of more of that side is, it feels, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. It's very cool that you knew very young. And I as far as the earthworm thing too, that I'm glad you answered that question, because I do recall hearing that, and it's a bummer that it's not the case. It's kind of sad.
Yes, right. Yeah, but no, it doesn't happen. It doesn't matter how you split it, they always die.
Yes, no matter how you split it. Okay, so you're saying that you had a little bit of doubt on that one little moment between which track you're going to go down, but once it was decided, you kind of just followed that. But I know, how many decisions were there past that point to determine where you were going to land after that? Because I know, even following a biology track, immunology is, it's very specific. So how did you get there?
So to go into uni, I originally went into biomedical science. That's where I started studying. Quickly, I realized that if you study biomedical science specific, you're never going to be within research. Most times you end up analyzing samples in the hospital. Get much better money for it. But I thought, okay, well, this is not really my passion. I want to be experimenting. And then so I changed it to microbiology after the first year. And I studied microbiology. And within that, I was very, very passionate about bacteria and the usage of bacteria in biotechnology. So basically hacking into them and then making them produce stuff for you, like insulin, all sorts of things. That's what I really liked to look at. And my honors project was related to it. So I found organisms that could break down oil and diesel. And then my plans for that was to take the genetic material that allows them to do that and put into other bacteria and then spray the soil with it. So that's the kind of thing I was passionate about. When I went to do my postgrad, I was looking into different postgrads, and I just happened to land this immunology one. Up to that point, molecular biology and immunology are quite linked, and those were topics that I sort of avoided at uni because I was more into like the bigger stuff like bacteria, parasites and stuff, and so I wasn't very keen on that bit. But
all good.
So, but when I was going to do a postgrad, I just happened to land a postgrad in immuno-oncology, just look at the immune system during cancer stages. And then after that, I landed a job within immunology, and I sort of stayed in there. And although it was something that during uni time, I didn't think I liked it so much, but I don't know if because working with it, you get to know the subject better and you sort of get confidence, you start enjoying it. But once I started working with it, I loved it. I was like, this is great. Maybe also, if you're at uni, you're learning something not in a practical way. And when you put things to work, it feels really nice. So maybe that's what it is. But immunology was not something I planned to do in science, but it is something that happened, and I really, really like it.
Great. Yes. Man, all right. There's a lot there, but I'm very curious as to, because you gave a nice example in there about you kind of talk about potentially the undergrad section on some what were you saying, the bacteria that breaks down oil, or kind of trying to find these solutions for, I'm assuming that the whole idea is I'm very curious on the different things that you are researching and the findings that you like, the problems you're trying to tackle and trying to find solutions for, and how much control you have over the tasks that you're tackling, or how that all that works, and what. Yeah, because I know. Okay, yes, well, I'll get to other stuff later, but yeah.
With the bacteria situation, so that's something I was working with in my honors year. So that's like the last year of uni here. I don't know if you have an equivalent there in America, but that's basically like, the project which showcases a little piece of research that you've been working on it, and that's what I worked on. I happened to be really good. My supervisor was not very hands-on. He sort of just let me get on with it. Most of the times the projects you're given are really set and other people have worked on it, and sort of just let me do my own thing. And I came up with something that was a bit crazy, and there was nobody there to tell me don't do it. So I did it, and it turned out to be really good. And I found these organisms. They were completely novel, and I have a friend who decided to take that onwards, and he's been working on it on the side for a few years to turn it into, turn this whole idea into a company basically that will help tackle oil pollution problems. So that is really good. Every once in a while I'll consult him. He'll consult me on a few things here and there, and maybe one day I'll join him in his company and once it takes off. But yeah, once I left that, I started working. I first worked in cancer. So it was cancer research. So it was the final stages of cancer drug discovery. I work in a lab that basically took the blood samples from those research and analyzed all the white blood cells that were present in those samples. So I've worked with that for some time, and then I went on to work in developing diagnostics, so just finding new ways of diagnosing different things in your blood, including blood type screening, so extended blood type, not just like A, B, and O positive and negative, but like extended blood type, which is something that's gapping the market right now. So I've worked on that for some time, and it was really interesting. Right now, I've sort of left that about a month ago, and I started working on making my own scientific journal. So it's something that I've been working the last few weeks, and it's just been exhausting, but hopefully it will take off and it will go okay.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Yeah, because I know when we had last chatted, you talked about how you were taking time away from that kind of that a vacation, I think is what we were calling it.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah. So, all right, I do want to. It is very cool that. Okay, I don't know, a couple things. Your final project, it's very cool that you were able to kind of pick your own thing. It's very hands off, and you were able to kind of see. It's very cool to see that has spawned or spiraled into a potential future company that's doing this whole oil breakdown thing. That is, I don't know, to me it's very interesting. I'm very what is the big picture of that look like? Like, what is that? Like, my assumption goes to thinking about, like, you kind of talk about oil pollution in the world, and I think about like the oceans and the spills. And so what is this? How does this, what I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
Yeah. So it's something called biodegradation of oil spills. So at the moment, there are synthetic solutions for it. So just dispersants that you would make in lab synthetically, and use that to disperse the oil. But that has further implications down the line. I mean, it's really good that exists, and it is quite effective. But you're putting something in the environment there that is quite unnatural for it and can cause chain effect. With biodegradation, it's usually bacteria that's already living there anyway. You just engineer to also be able to eat that alongside everything else, which is, and then you don't disturb anything. This sort of projects exist in several universities around the world, where you will go to oil spill sites, collect some samples, and then work on those bacteria there. What I wanted to look at was, the bacteria that were in soils that were heavily polluted by diesel. So the bacteria around there, they were more likely to survive if they're able to feed off that. Whereas taking samples from the oceans, it's a bit of a bigger challenge for you to find something there that has managed to eat oil and it has that gene there. But I went to really heavily polluted soil, so I've collected some samples there and only fed them the oil that was in that soil for a while, and then naturally the bacteria that survived were only the ones that were able to eat it. So I was able to separate and cultivate and show that it was producing some sort of dispersant there. So my friend's taken that onwards, like the idea of the protocol that I created in order to collect that, and also the organisms, and he's looking to developing that onwards, because as I said, if you go to the oceans, to the local areas, and you collect the organisms there, they're not going to be as effective because there's just so much of everything else in the ocean, even when there are oil spills, whereas in those soils, those bacteria are much more efficient at doing it. But it's something that's still within development, still something that we need to look at. So yeah, it's been a few years now, but with research, it always does.
Yeah, so where are these I guess I'm curious to know a little bit more about the oil polluted soils, on where those can
Where I found it.
commonly, where does that occur, and what are the kind of consequences of the existence of that, and what is it preventing? Like, I mean, I can imagine that it's bad, but yeah.
Yeah, with the soils, you know, I'm not expert on this, so don't quote me on that. But with the soils, I don't think it's such a huge issue as it is with oceans, because obviously, like, the space that you pollute is much bigger. And with soils, it tends to be marinas, basically, just boats that are there and just leak out some diesel there. That's where I collected my bacteria. I just went to a marina down here in Edinburgh. There was, you know, on the side of the boats, a couple of them had quite, you know, a few oil stains there. And I just picked the one that had the worst oil stains, and I just sort of like scraped off the top to see if there was anything living there, anything feeding off of that. So that's all that I did, basically, and then collect some more to feed the bacteria with. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Great. Yeah. I was imagining like farmland or something for some reason on
And
which
that
I'm
makes sense too. But the marina was available to me, so I lived by the sea, so I was like, it's right here.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, and then I was going to also jump off of, I don't know, it's not, it's like a non-story on my side, but I did recall because you're asking about like this, I forgot how you talked about mid uni, or this was like a senior, I don't know. I did a 4-year college track. My undergrad was a 4-year track. It took me 5 years to do it, but I know in the final year we had a similar assignment on developing, because I was in mining engineering, so developing a kind of going through the process of like the feasibility studies on whether or not we should move forward with developing this this hypothetical mine that we were assigned. Is like, all right, you have this plot of land, here's the drill sites, here's the amount of gold down there, and then you have to go through the whole process of really figuring out if it's cost effective in the long run to even start the like reclamation, the whole deal. And I just like ours was a group project. It sounds like yours was more of a solo endeavor.
For me, it was solo, but like with engineering, I always keep thinking of all the things that could go wrong. Did you not?
Sure. There's a lot of humans involved too. Yeah.
Yeah. But like if you were, for example, to dig into that area that you were talking about, what sort of things could go wrong? What are the possibilities?
What could go? Okay, there's plenty of things that could go wrong, but I mean, as you're talking about like the actual structural integrity of the whole, even just like not collapsing, or like, because I don't recall if our mine was underground. I think it might have been an underground mine exploration, because of course, I don't know, I wouldn't say of course, a lot of people don't think about mining, but you have to determine whether or not it's feasible to dig downwards and just like scoop up all the dirt and just make the hole bigger, or if the gold pocket is too low, it might be more feasible just to dig straight down and have a tunnel system down there and dig that way, because it's too much money and too much time before you start making profits. So it's like, let's just go straight down, whatever. But underground mining is very scary.
Yeah.
and I know, because through college, I know we got to tour different mines and stuff, and we got to go underground, and in the different safety meetings you have to go through to just be able to tour. They definitely scare you with like what could go wrong with if there's some sort of collapse, or there's like these little special vacuumed off, like, I don't know, they have the special face masks to create oxygen that kind of burn your teeth, and there's, I don't know, that was a big takeaway for sure. It's like you put this, like, on the airplane, if you get oxygen, it just comes like
Yeah.
down like this, but this one you strap it on and it's got this chemical that helps convert whatever you're breathing down there into oxygen. And they're like, it's gonna be really hot and your teeth are gonna feel like they're burning and you're gonna, but like, it's survival. You gotta get your oxygen.
It's
But
actually really cool.
it's very cool. And also
Is it the scientist in me going like,
yeah. And then I know I don't know, even just the darkness by itself scares me down there. I don't like it at all. But
is that why you went like, I'm not going into this?
I mean, I finished it. I got my degree and I was going to work it, but I don't know, it's definitely was not a passion of mine. And I yeah, more of my plan was the creative was always the ambition, and this was the smart decision to go to school for this as the main plan and have the degree where you can make some money and sustain a life versus like going to school for the arts and then trying to figure out money that way. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna go work out in the middle of nowhere desert for a few years, do my time, and then make a lot of money, save it, and then go to Los Angeles and figure it out. But
Yeah.
but I never
You just went to Los Angeles and figured it out.
well, no, it was an in between for sure because I was the plan. As far as mining goes, since we're on this very quickly, the companies all operate based on like what the current price of gold is and what the current price of silver is and copper and all that kind of stuff, of course. So like the cost per ounce dictates how much money the companies are making. And at the time through all of college, the gold price was like going up and up and up and up and up and up and up to like over $2,000 an ounce.
Okay.
I don't even know what it is right now, but I do know that all the companies are kind of launching exploration campaigns or like drilling everywhere looking because all this money is coming in. They just want more, of course. So so it was like great. We're touring all these places. Everybody's got their explorations going, and of course, once I graduate, the gold price plummets from like 2,000 an ounce to like 800 an ounce. So your profits are getting sliced over in half, just like kind of over the course of a few months or something crazy like that. So all the companies are like, yep, we're stopping all of our exploration. We're done. We're laying off all these people or firing all these people. We're not hiring currently. So
So you didn't have an option.
so
You had to figure it out.
yeah, I was like, well, I guess I'm not, the opportunities went kind of dried up. And I'm like, well, I stayed in Reno, which is like 8 hours north of LA. I stayed up there for about 5 years, kind of just building up the experience and kind of building up the experience, learning on the job, making my own stuff before I made the jump. But essentially, it was like, I guess that plan's off the table. Let's do this other thing. But yeah, that's I don't know. I didn't like the senior project is kind of what I was trying to say. I didn't, it was not fun for me. And even though the teacher was off hands and we did our thing, I did not resonate.
Well, you were in the dark, your teeth were burning.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a fun time.
Oh gosh.
But no, it's great that yours, it's lovely to talk to people that had great experiences.
No, I was a kind of nerd at uni that everybody hates. I was actually like really enjoying my time there.
How dare you?
Exactly. People are like, but I really was.
No, that's great. I think about that a lot too. Like it's weird how, like growing up, I don't know if this, how was that, has that always been the case for you? Did you always enjoy going to school, and did you always find a way to enjoy like every single class, or were there, or
Mm,
or like school in
yeah.
general, like, oh my gosh, we're here to learn, like I don't know how
I really did enjoy school. I was quite social, so I liked being around other kids. I liked the academic side of it. Yeah, I always enjoyed it. When I went to first grade, my parents had, so my dad is half Japanese, right? So he has a right to for a visa in Japan to live there, and he went to study there and start working there. So I went to live there with my parents around the time I was meant to go in to first grade. I was 5 or 6. I was a bit young for a first grader, but the Japanese school accepted it,
Hmm.
and I went in. Um, I think there were aspects of the Japanese school that I didn't enjoy so much because they were really, really full on. And no matter how much I practice at home, I was never, I was really struggling to catch up. It was just really fast. And that kind of helped me because once my parents decided, okay, she's not settling well in Japan, let's send her back to the grandparents in Brazil to study in a school in Brazil. I was always ahead of the class because I had, in Japan, everyone was so forward that it was sort of easy for me. So I enjoyed it because, it was easy I was pushed so much in the first few grades that I was, I didn't struggle so much. So it was great. I saw my friends. I had that, I had that advantage to me that I had gone to Japanese school. So yeah, so I always enjoyed it. I was, you know, going back home, I would always do my homework and actually enjoy it. So then the next day, when the teacher would forget to ask about the homework, I would be like, there's homework. And then everyone would want to kill me. My friends still talk about that. But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. Okay, no, that's great. That's very lovely.
Yeah, so I think that I don't know how people don't hate me for it. They're still my friends, but yeah, they are.
Yeah, because I guess I don't know why it was crossing through my mind, but like I as soon as something becomes something you have to do, I know a lot of people kind of check out on the experience. It's like you have to go to school because we have to educate society and you have to learn things, and then it just turns into a thing you have to do. And for some, I don't know how I do not know how people how to encourage people to try to, I don't know.
Well, for me, as I said, I think if I didn't have those first few years in Japan, I don't think I would have enjoyed school either. I think the only reason is because
It
of
was
those first few
easy.
years, I was pushed so hard that when I got to Brazil, I was like, huh, I have an advantage here. So it was somewhere where I could feel good about myself. But
Mhm.
I don't think I enjoyed school very much in Japan. No, it was just like, you know,
Yeah, no,
your
it makes
anxiety and
sense.
panic, like, I'm not
Because
gonna
I
pass, I'm not gonna pass.
because I know, I think I enjoyed school not as much as you did, but I enjoyed school enough. Similarly, I didn't start in Japan or anything, but I know that school came very easy to me, kind of up till like most of high school. I know college was a lot more difficult because I was not used to having to study for stuff. I didn't have good study techniques because I would usually just coast by I would just coast and ace everything, and it was lovely. But college was very hard. But I don't know. I think about how I don't know. I just wish people could really learn to embrace and enjoy the things that they do. And approach, because I know we all have our own little things that we can put all of our energy into, like on my side of the filmmaking. And so any opportunity to like be on a set or watch some sort of other director talk about their process, like I'm like honed in on like, all right, I'm listening to everything you're saying, I'm absorbing as much as I can. Like I wish I had that for like,
It's
as
a passion. I think it's a passion, no?
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
But I
It's
think
hard
as
to be
a
passionate about something you tell yourself to.
sure, I just mean as a youth, you don't really understand the fact that there's an opportunity in front of you here to really absorb from this person that wants to be there, wants to teach you something, and you kind of just check out and you're on your phone, or you're kind of just trying to send notes, you're trying to socialize, you don't really think about I don't know, that's just life. But
I definitely
regardless,
understand what you're trying to say, but I think that's definitely more about like what people are passionate about, because I have a good example of this. One of my
sure.
good friends in high school, Anna, I used to talk a lot during class. I didn't, it was really hard for me to sit and listen. I was always like wanting to be social, wanting to talk to my friends. And this one friend, Anna, she was, you know, she, most of my friends didn't do as well in school. They did struggle a bit. And then one day a math teacher came in to speak to me and said, I need to have a word with you about Anna. In the last exam, she didn't answer anything. She just got 0. And it's been a long time coming. Basically, it's she's really struggling. Would you be able to help her, like guide her and so on? And I was really shocked because Anna never, like, I knew that she struggled, and I did help her with like history and other subjects like that, but I never expected that it was this bad. And Anna was really closed off. She didn't want to talk about it. And then you know, this math teacher was trying to help her, trying to speak with her parents, and she got really frustrated. And she basically said to Anna, not in these words, but long in a way, just saying like, you're not going to do well in life because of this attitude, because you're not wanting to improve, you're not wanting to try to study maths a bit more, try to at least answer the exams. You don't acknowledge this is an issue, because Anna, she was like, it's what I am, and I'm not improving. Nowadays, Anna owns a chain of salons, and she teaches people. She has an academy where she teaches people how to do nails and stuff, and she's very well off. But yeah, that was her passion, like doing acrylic nails and beauty and stuff like this. And she does much better than I do. I'll tell you that. She's doing much better than me in life. So yeah, it's about like people's passion. Like sometimes this academic stuff is really not what drives you. Do you not think so?
Yeah, no, 100%. Sorry, I'm trying to get the echo. All right, the echo's gone. Yeah, no, I agree definitely. That I mean that's kind of there's this book. I don't even know the title of it, who wrote it, but it's why isn't it like C students why C students are A students work for C students or something crazy like that.
Yeah,
Where
I think I've heard of it.
yeah, where the people that are yeah, like the C students are the ones that are not really focused on the they don't care too much about acing everything. It's about the experiences and getting better at stuff and entrepreneurship and practicing and failing and trying different things that other people aren't trying to do, and doing things outside of the box and whatever. So, and then the A students are just kind of just following orders and going down the line and being really good employees.
To be honest, that sounds very accurate, and that comes from an A student herself. So I completely agree with it. I think that just we're passionate about different things and we're wired different ways. So whenever I get a lot of this from like, friends that have children in high school and stuff, oh, they're not doing their science. They're so worried about it, as if, this was such a crucial thing. And I'm always like, it's fine, it's just grades. Yeah.
It's just, yeah, just great.
They'll figure it out. They'll figure it out.
I mean, that's a tough balance. I mean, I don't have any children to vouch for this, but I gotta imagine that line between my child needs help in school and there's something wrong here versus, oh, it's just, like not everything matters all the time. I'm sure that line is very, very tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree. It's like, well, no, how are they doing in their English? How is that other class? Like, oh, okay, great. They're competent. They're fine. Don't you worry. They'll be good.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Let me see. I'm just going to review my notes here. All right. Let's talk about the modeling side a little bit. When did that start? How involved has that been in your life, and as far as you're going forward to, I don't know, past, present, future?
So past, the way it started, I grew up between Japan and Brazil, and when I was about 15, I moved back to Japan. And in school, there was a casting agent that had worked with that school before, that had casted, students from that school before, and then they spoke to the principal and they said, we've seen there is a new girl. There were two of us, in fact, there were two new girls. Can I speak to them? So we both came out of class, they spoke to us, and then they've asked about my rough measurements. They asked me to go into their agency. And I was like, yeah, of course. So from that agency, spoke to another agency, which spoke to another agency, sort of like they feed off each other. And I remember, those flip phones that had a camera. It was one of those. They put me against a white wall. They took a picture of that, of me, just like that. And then one of whole body. There were two pictures, and it was really bad, like extremely pixelated. And they sent us onwards to an agency in Tokyo. And then I started getting jobs. They just call me, and I would just go in and I started doing that outside of my school hours. It wasn't very often that I would get something in the beginning, but as I got older and I started, being a bit more interested in this because it did give me money, started getting more jobs, but it was never something I expected to happen to me. It was not something that had crossed my mind at any point. So it was purely circumstantial. And I just saw an opportunity there to make money without, in my view, having to make a big effort. In the end, it was, because you have to take the train to all these weird locations. You have to do like these castings that sometimes take your energy and will to live. But it did give me money. It was better than waiting tables. So I did that for some time. But it started getting really addictive. Like as I started getting older, you start becoming friends with other models, with Asians, and then you start to want to make it in that world. You know what I mean? You start getting a bit competitive there. And I thought to myself, I cannot let this ruin my science dreams. Imagine if I drop out of university because I decided to pursue modeling because I just got lost in it. So I decided once I go to uni, I'll stop. I was like, I'll stop. I'll not do it anymore. I do not want to have the temptation of moving to modeling. And then comes me at 25, I'm too old for it. You know what I mean? And then I've lost the opportunity to have something to do for life. So stopped doing it. Once I graduated, every once in a while I'll get a photographer or, producer contact me here and there. I got a producer that was doing like a music video, and then photographer that was studying and, wanted to do some portrait. And then slowly, I sort of went back into it. But I've told myself I'll not sign up for agencies anymore. I'll not be part of any of that, just because if I do, You know, I feel like I'll let it consume me again.
Yeah, all right. So it's so you gotta watch the addictive nature of this, of because I guess I'm that does that so wow.
Blech.
Speak, Eddie. This is a passion then, it sounds like that. Is it a competitive nature of it, or is it you actually, I'm assuming you enjoy it in some capacity, and it sounds like, because it's so, the allure is very powerful.
I don't know what it is in modeling that pulls me. I think it's a validation. You know, you get these pictures and everyone's like, oh my goodness, this looks so nice. I think that must be it. Maybe I need to discuss that in therapy. I don't I don't know. I can't put a finger on it. I don't know what it is that makes me passionate about it. I know in science what it is, you know, it's just
Yeah, I guess so. As far as the validation goes, I'm not, this isn't therapy, but I guess very curious on, is it the validation in the moment from like the photographer themselves, that it feels good in that space to be doing it and to have that back and forth in this creative environment that feels good, or is it the after moment when like the photos come out and you start hearing the things
it's the
that
after moment. It's the after moment, definitely. Like when I started doing it in Tokyo, I was very skeptical about it. I was like, like I was, you know, afraid of being labeled, you know, all the stereotypical things you say about models. Oh, they're dumb, they're just this and that. But as I started going to, you know, castings and getting jobs, you know, you come back and, you know, people want to hear the stories of how this went and want to see the pictures and thought they were, you know, it was all so cool. And you get, you know, right now I don't think, you know, the money you get from it's not so good, but back then it was really good as well. So that sort of gave me that validation, like of people thinking that it was a really cool thing to do. Because with science, whenever I told people, you know, I'm going to be a scientist, this is what I'm going to study, this is, you know, the course I'm going to, everyone was like, you know, are you sure, Emily? Like, you know, if you really like science, if you know, you have the grades, why don't you just go and be a doctor or something like this, you know? And so I didn't find a lot of approval there, but with modeling it did. And nowadays, I think the approval that comes from it, again, is you know, having those pictures and be able to, you know, tell people the stories and, you know, just see your face photoshopped. It's really not.
see your face Photoshop.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know, yeah, because I mean, I know we connected through Instagram, and because I don't think we followed each other for that long, but I followed long enough to be able to see the wide array of, like, to me it seems like you're doing modeling stuff all the time. Like, I don't know how prevalent has it been as of late, and how do you see it moving forward, or I don't know, how does, yeah, present and future, I guess. Yeah.
Present, I don't feel like I do that much. Everyone says that, like, you seem to be posting more stuff than the girls that do it full time. I don't know if maybe it's my nature of overdoing things, or it's just impression, I guess. I don't know. Like this week I had 2 photo shoots, but that's too much for a week. I have gone a month or 2 without doing anything at all in relation to modeling. So it just varies a lot. When I had my job, I felt like, you know, within diagnostics, I felt like I did it much more. I don't know if it's just sort of like you know, the creative side sort of like counterbalanced, you know, the science, or if it was just sort of a little escape for me. But yeah, I think in the future, going forward, I'm 28 now. I don't even know how I still get modeling gigs. I feel like I'm
You've aged out. Yeah, you're like,
I'm aged out. I'm past my expiry date for modeling, so I don't even know if people still contact me, but I'm glad they do. But I don't count on it to still be here within the next few years.
Yeah,
But I still sort of, yeah,
Mhm.
I still sort of want to do like something creative. So that's why I started dipping to the acting now.
Yes, because there's no expiration date for that.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I was gonna joke about just no, I don't know. I don't know how modeling works. This because I've never, I don't work the photography side. I work the casting side. I'm casting people, but
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna tease about, well, you're 28, just wait till you're 30, it'll be done for sure. But
Yes.
no. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if I had any other thoughts on the modeling. I guess the only thing I was gonna say was like with Instagram, it does kind of make sense on how often you could be posting because ideally any modeling experience you have could be postable in some capacity. So you're getting something from every single thing you do, whether it's, I mean, posting twice a month about modeling, like, again, could be more than other people post. So it does add up. Because I know, like, for me, I try to be mindful of showcasing what I'm up to and showing myself on set and stuff. And I almost find myself having a hard time getting a good image of myself and on different sets. I'm like, all right, cool. How have I showed myself before? How do I mix it up on this next one? Oops, like I don't really want to like take somebody's time from set, take a photo of me here. Like it's a little bit more of a hassle for me, but you're
And
getting
you have to
photos.
think about it as well all the time, right? It's just so much effort.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So I think I only have, yeah, I'm kind of slacking a little bit. But I feel like it's for the best.
Yeah. Nowadays, it's a very must-have thing for models to post BTS behind the scenes, and I am terrible at it because I'm from the generation. I'm feeling old. I'm from the generation that went into modeling jobs, and you couldn't have your phone around or anything like this, book tops, and you had to be super professional and just do your thing. So for me to have my phone around all the time and be doing videos, it feels so weird. And then I have to think about it as well. I have to like make it look nice, maybe try to do TikTok because that's what you have to do. Apparently, terrible at it. Terrible.
Yeah, the bonus material. All right, yeah, behind the scenes. It makes sense. I mean,
it does, and I see it. I love watching it from other people. I hate making it.
Yeah. Yes. So let's talk about. I guess there's a couple other things I wanted to ask too. We talked about it a little bit before, and I guess this could be in the same vein. I'm not quite sure. You're taking the break from science.
I was meant to.
Yes.
Then I got bored when they started a company. So.
Oh, geez. All right. Wait, you started a company when? What?
This journal was telling about that.
Okay, yes. All right. So, yeah, but that's a little bit of a different medium per se. No?
Yes,
Okay. Can you tell me about that? Let's talk about that since you brought it up. But I wanted to know what the relation was on the break, and if that's all, just to clarify, if it's also break from modeling as well in the transition into acting and this journal, like it feels like a little bit of a new wave kind of coming, but
yes, it's a little life crisis I'm having. I stopped working and I was gonna do a pause on modeling as well, and I thought, okay, well maybe I could still do some modeling here and there. If I find something that I think I would enjoy doing. So that's why I started doing it. I started letting the modeling come back in slowly. And then the journal was just, I always have, in science, it's such a niche sort of field, and there are a lot of gaps everywhere. And they always bother me so much. So one day, it was one Monday evening, I was bored. and I've just sort of decided to do it, and I did so much in one evening that was sort of like hard to take it back. So it's just went, and somehow within a few days it started like a good process of taking off, and I was like, okay. So yeah, so that's what happened. I think I started on the 30th of August.
Yeah, so can you tell me about more of the issues you were having with the other journals, and because I'm not too familiar, so if you don't mind
yeah, not so much with journals, but in general in science, that it's can be really frustrating sometimes to the amount of gaps you find just because not a lot of things cater to it. So yeah, it's somewhere that there are a lot of gaps. One of the good examples I like to give is like softwares that scientific equipment rely upon. They're extremely not user-friendly. Extreme, because no one cares, that's the only thing, that's the only option you have. And yeah, it's just something that really frustrates me. That's just one example. But yeah, there are lots of other small things that are just really frustrating. And with journals, they're nowadays for you to publish a paper, and it should be that way. It's a process that's it's quite difficult for you to you need to produce a piece of research that's really, really good, and it will be scrutinized until it gets accepted. And that's a really good thing. So it's sort of like a very big, quality control that you've got there. But there is also this website called ResearchGate, which is some sort of forum for scientists. And I've used it so much working with, development, because, navigating yourself through an experiment sometimes can feel like a maze. Trying to work out a project, an end goal, it can feel like a maze, and you don't know where to exit it. You make the same mistakes that everyone did, unless you've got an expert in house, like some sort of magician that lives in the cave and has been doing that same thing in science for the last 50 years. You sort of end up making the same mistakes that all these people did until you get to the end goal. And I just think it's so stupid, and I find myself in this forum all the time just to see, just to consult other experts around and be like, I'm trying to do this is a mistake I'm getting. Have you gotten this mistake before? And like, oh yeah, we did. You have to do that instead. But there weren't any literature on it. So this is the sort of gap I want to fill in, just sort of like do some sort of forum, but more on the database format. That's what I'm working on. So
wow.
Yeah, launching soon.
Whoa.
Launching soon.
Dang, that's quite the. No, that's definitely your
Yes. You think I get really excited when I talk about science things. I start hopping.
Oh no, it's great. Yeah, no, it sounds like a great resource. Definitely, like the frustration that you describe. I could, man, yeah, that makes total sense to me on the whole process of how science works in the first place. So that's new, and you're working on that. And how does I have no idea what goes into building such a thing.
Neither. I'm just figuring it out as I go. I've got no idea what I'm doing.
You're just going.
Just ticking boxes and
that's great. Okay. So where does acting fit into all of this, and what's new there? How does you recently had, I forget on last time we talked if you're about to do something or if you had just done something. I don't know if it was a music video one or
no, the music videos.
No, I mean no, that was a long time ago. Yeah.
It was a short film. Yes, and my work on it was really, really brief, but I loved it. waxing is something that I had not looked into before. I probably should, because I'm a really good liar.
Oh, jeez.
But, but it's not something I looked into until I did that. I absolutely loved it. I was like, this is great. So I started hoping that maybe that will substitute the modeling for me. Because, you know, with modeling, there's only so much that you can do to sort of like add your personality to it. Sometimes you just have to sit there and, you know, and let the product do the work. But with the acting, like, you've got so much more into it, and I just loved it. I really did. There's much to do as well. You don't have to like just sit still and make poses.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different tool set for sure. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, there's a camera in front of you, and you're being captured in something, in some capacity, but it's definitely a different approach mentally. And yeah, delivering dialogue is a whole other thing that is not expected of you as a model, I imagine, most likely, most based on, yeah, modeling sense. I know sometimes you're asked to pretend like you're laughing, or like the fake laughing is a thing, which I can't really do, so I respect that.
Can you not fake laugh?
I just I can't do it. That's why I because I tried acting for a little while. That was my start. My very beginning phases was I wanted to be an actor first, and then I checked out of that very quickly. It was maybe like I did a year of like scene study classes and acting classes, did a couple of small theater plays, and produced my own stuff for a while, where I put myself in front of the camera as an actor. And I'm just like, yeah, no, not my thing. Not my thing. But I do, it is a good sign that you, I mean, especially with all the experience that you have been able to grab with, like you said, like in modeling, there's still opportunities and the challenges of getting your personality to show through these poses and through postures and just the energy that you bring. So all that experience, I'm sure, can definitely be lended to the acting side 100%. However, my one thought, based on the way that your life seems to go, is that it is a bigger commitment, in terms of like, usually time and prep. It's not just showing up to a shoot and taking the photo. It's like
it's a much bigger project usually,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's bigger. You have to like do all this homework to prep this character and show up and know your lines, and it might be multiple days spread across weeks. Like, who knows what the thing is, but that's very exciting.
I think the lines is something that really scares me. We'll see how I will do, but it's something that really scares me. So I have this little story. So when I was 11, 12, so I grew up with this cousin in Brazil, Enrique, his name. And since he was very little, people used to tease him saying that he was gay. And he should be very angry whenever people tease him, obviously, like, you know, in his full right of being upset about that. But so when we got to that age, he came up with a plan, and he told me, okay, well, I think that I need to maybe give a peck on some girls, so then people stop saying that. Okay. And he happened to have a crush on this very gorgeous girl that was a year younger than me. So he was a year older, and then this girl was a year younger, so I was in the middle. And her name was Nicole. And yeah, she was gorgeous, she was stunning, she was very, very smart. And I was like, well, maybe lower your standards, because you're aiming a bit too far, maybe. He was like, no, please, Emily, you can do it, you know, just talk to her, try it. And I'm like, you know, our friends didn't really like each other. I was like, that's not gonna work.
Yeah,
so we found out.
Sorry, remind me, what age are you all at this point? I think I missed that.
I think me and Nicole were 11 and he was 12.
Okay.
Or we were 12 and he was 13, something like that. And then we found out she did acting classes. And that was near his house. So he thought, Emily, let's go do acting. And I was like, well, you go ahead, you go talk to her. And he was like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. You have to come with me and you have to initiate this. And I'm like, here we go. So I went to do acting with him, right? It was definitely not my thing. So I went to do acting school. So we were there for a little while, and I was trying to become friends with her. And, you know, she already had like a couple of friends there, like close circle. Eventually managed to become friends with her. So yeah, we did a few shows. We did a few Greek plays. And Nicole was beautiful in it. She was so good at acting. Like, it was beautiful. It was amazing. What I really struggled with, you know, the facial expressions and all of that, it was absolutely fine. I usually have this homework where I was like staring in front of them, like in the mirror, like practicing facial expressions. And I was like, oh my goodness, like the kind of things my cousin made me do. And then, yeah, I used to really struggle with saying the lines and then, you know, putting emotion into saying the lines. I would just sort of like, just have it really flat, just read it. So it's definitely a problem that I'm still, I can feel I'll have that too. Yeah, so the moral of the story is that Henrique was really gay. He came out when he was 15. And Nicole became a best friend, like tight best friend for life. And we still talk online, and it's just, yeah, after that, we went everywhere together and became really, really good friends. So.
Did he ever get the pack? Did he ever do? Did you guys were you ever? Oh, were you able? Wow.
No packs.
You were never able to organize that. That was the whole reason for the thing in the first place.
No, I was not able to. He eventually managed to get a couple of packs from other girls a couple of years later, but according to him, it was disgusting, and he's definitely gay. So,
sure.
Yeah.
So it was all for nothing, really. But no, it's a bummer. Bullying is not fun.
No, it's not. Yeah.
But in this case, it's kind of adorable that it led to this whole best friend thing.
Exactly.
A supportive friend. No, it's great. Yeah, you were trying to support your friend through the bullying, and then that's a great story. It's a great story. But yeah, I do see actors on occasion have, even in like Los Angeles, when they're here doing it full time and they've been studying for years and stuff, like it can still be an issue on trying to get the right inflections and come across as genuine every single take. Like it's so difficult, and it's yeah, but I believe in Emily. She can pull it off.
Thank you. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see. I remember I used to like watch Nicole just saying all the lines really emotively and just, you know, really get into that. And then it'll come my turn and I'll be like, blah, blah, blah. Oh.
So does that mean, I forget, what are you doing? Are you doing anything particular specifically to be pursuing the acting? Like, are you putting yourself out there as an actor in any capacity, or are you just kind of same vein as the modeling, with just kind of hoping stuff comes and just ride that wave if it does?
I first want to see how that short film turned out. I want to see how it turned out, because, you know, just like when people go to the X Factor, people tell them they can sing and they get there and they cannot sing. I just want to see first how it went, because I might be thinking, oh, I did really awesome, and the director was like, oh, you were really great, but he may be just saying that. So I want to see first, and then once that, want to see that, yeah, I'm gonna start putting myself out there and start pursuing. So I've got a few friends who are models, and they're also actors. I've been speaking to, and sort of just
feeling it out.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So no pressure. That sounds great. I'm trying to imagine. I don't know. I wouldn't put not that you're asking for, this is unsolicited, of course, but I wouldn't put too much weight on the short film performance anyway, whether you're like, oh my gosh, that was horrible, or oh my gosh, he told me that was great. Like, what was he thinking? Like, oh, what that was son is like whatever. Like, it's always a tough part too. Is that's this process. Is you just have to keep doing it and doing it, and you just get better. It's a craft. You just got to sharpen that tool set. It's a whole different ball game. So
Yeah.
I know that I've almost, yeah, yeah, it's, yes. So I'm just trying to say, I almost like, I don't even like the idea of waiting to see the thing. It's like, no, if it's fun and you enjoy it, just do it anyway. Like what, even if
Yeah.
you,
I just feel like if I realize I have to put a lot of effort into it, I think I'll be intimidated, because I don't know if you've noticed, like, the kind of things I pursued in my life were things that I was naturally good at. If it's something I have to make an effort, it's really scary. So I'm like,
sure. Well, I mean,
what
that's
if I'm not a natural?
exciting. It's exciting. It's a new evolution. It's
Yeah.
stepping out of the norm, and yeah, I mean, no, I totally get it for sure with
Yes. Now
falling
you have to recommend me books and
for acting.
yes.
No, my recommendation is just act. I don't know. Like I don't. I've kind of fallen out of the. I don't know. I think I much prefer the learning by doing method versus the reading method, like the acting classes and even finding a way to get some friends together, like even the other actor model friends. It's like, hey, let's just make a thing for fun and just feel this out so I can practice my acting or whatever. I want to try this dramatic role. I want to try crying on camera. Like I don't, do the things that give yourself build, the own opportunity to try the thing before, rather than waiting. I don't know.
One of my friends that I briefly spoke to, Rebecca Wyman, she told me just try to make some self-tape, and I couldn't stop laughing. It was, I don't know what was so funny about it, but oh my goodness, it's much harder than you think. Mm-hmm. I was just like, I was starting like just laughing at myself. I was like, oh, this is going great.
Yeah, it's kind of I think it's almost easier to have the audience and have the pressure of the set. Like, just I have to do it because everybody's here. I don't want to waste the time. I don't want to fail. I don't want to. Versus like you're by yourself in your room and you have this. You're like, this is dumb. Yeah, totally.
But to be honest, it's not too different from like taking modeling Polaroids on your own as well. You just sort of like, in your room by yourself. I don't know.
It's something I have to get used to. Different. I empathize. All right, let's see. What? I wanted to ask about an Instagram post that you had up. I know it's probably a nothing story. I just thought it was a funny word, and I wanted to know what prompted the posting. And the word is ambitious.
Ambitious. Aspiring to be a bigger bitch than. I don't know. I think in science, I was in science, but also like in corporate science. And I think that not just there, also like in personal life, I think, what is described as somebody being a bitch can sometimes be, just somebody putting limits, setting boundaries.
Yeah, it's a very mm-hmm. I was gonna say it's a very it's a very I mean, yeah, you would only call a female this, you wouldn't, yeah. So it's very directed towards if a dude did the same thing, there's different words for what that would be like. But okay, yes, yeah.
But I think it's so beautiful when girls sort of like climb their corporate ladder, just set boundaries to people around them, and just show up as the bad bitch that they are. And I just love seeing that. So I think that more people should be ambitious. Just aspiring to be that bad bitch. I love seeing that happen, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, when I first started working in science, fresh out of uni, there was this one woman called Jillian, and she was amazing. She had been working there for like many years, I don't know, 20 years. And she's now director of a big part of the company. And she's just a lovely, lovely human being. She's just really good at what she does. She's really just, she has oversight of everything. Like those kind of people that are superhuman, you know, and you're like, how do you do so much? She was like that. And one day she told me, you know, because I told her, like, you're just awesome. She was like, I'm awesome, but I am a bitch, and I'm a big, big bitch. And I just loved hearing that from her, because I know what she meant. And she's not in any way nasty or horrible person, no, but if you cross the line, you know, there will be consequences, not in a bad way. She's not like demanding boss or anyway, but you know, there was no tolerance for like unacceptable behavior, which sometimes like you can get in corporations, just like certain behaviors taking place. And she was really good. And I could only aspire to be the bitch that she is. And yeah, that's basically it. That's my ambitious post. And yeah, I really support bad bitches. So
No, I like it too. Well, because what it comes down to really, of course, is like you're saying, it's not like it's mean. It's not like you're saying to be overly any sort of aggressive or demoralizing to your team or any sort of stuff like that. It's more of stand up for yourself, and like you said, the boundaries and the almost honesty and communication, and just kind of laying stuff out there for people. it's kind of weird that would require the bitch title, but it's I thought it was a cool, funny word, because it's weird to say too. Just
yeah, it doesn't flow. Like when you see it written, it sounds really good, but when you have to say it,
it feels like a misspeak for sure.
Yeah. But I'm all about taking sort of degrading words and things like that, and transforming it, just owning it, just taking it back, and using it. And bitch is definitely one of them. I'm like, just take it back and make it about us. Make it something good.
Own it.
Own it. Yes.
I don't know. Question. This is. I don't know. Okay, no. I have some random ones I could ask. Let me ask a random one here. This one is kind of one. It's okay. There's a specific relation between two different words that I'm kind of thinking about. One word. I'll just start with one. What does happiness mean to you? And how important is happiness, and how does that play like into your day-to-day, moment to moment of assessing that level of happy?
I am not the kind of person that thinks that the end goal in life is happiness. I feel like, you know, a normal, well-balanced life has all sorts of emotions in it, and sometimes happiness is not going to be there for a while, and that's normal. I think that I am at my happiest when, after I've gone through a long period of like stress, and you know, when you work really hard for something, and you have to push yourself, and you see it, and you're like, okay, that's when I feel at my happiest. So that's probably why I don't see life as being like one big bowl of happiness. Like it doesn't have to be like that. But yeah, it also means food, sleep, and comfort. For me, that's my happy place. If I have lots of food, lots of comfort, lots of sleep, and maybe like a murder documentary, that's where I feel like, okay, I'm reaching nirvana.
Yeah, I think, okay, that's great. I love the answer. I agree with the thought there, the sentiment of a balanced emotional life, like a balanced diet. You're not always gonna, yeah, that's a nice way of looking at it. I do know, based on following you on Instagram, that you are very good at, like you mentioned, the food. Like I know you're like always posting photos of the different places you're going out to eat and stuff, and I'm always like, that's cool. I wish I did that. I don't know. Food is not a high priority on my happiness scale. So I don't know
Can't
how to
relate.
yeah, I don't know how to fix it. I can't relate. I think I feel like I have sacrificed my sense of taste for for like a sense, like let's say as like a director. I don't know. I feel like we're only able
You
to
can have all the senses,
I feel like
you
you
went your
can,
mouth and sacrifice your taste so you can have.
yeah, exactly. I feel like you can develop senses to be stronger is a thing. Is that not a thing? Is that not accurate?
Yeah, I guess you can. I mean, yeah, definitely.
Like you can develop your listening abilities, so you can develop a better sense of listening, a better sense of focus, a better sense of emotional intelligence. Like you can kind of really practice on observing and watching and feeling. And tasting is definitely fallen at the bottom of my list. And I feel like I don't
What do
taste
you
very
normally
well.
eat then? What do you normally eat? Do you not care about what sort of food you're having? You just like Taco Bell and
No, no,
McDonald's?
no. I think about the health aspects of food. That
Okay.
still plays in. It's not like I'm eating junk food. It's just when I do eat food,
That's what I
let's
imagine. Sorry.
no. It's more, let's say like I'm on set and then we get catered a meal and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really, like, I don't know, this seems good to me. But other people around me are like, ugh, this is like, I'm like, really? I think this is pretty good. I don't know. Like I can't tell if like something's off with my taste or
Yeah. I know what you
way.
mean. No, I'm definitely like really picky. Not really picky. Like I will eat it, but I will complain about it.
Sure, yeah, all right,
I'll be
makes
one of
sense.
those people on your side, be like,
And I'll be like, no, it's fine, chill.
have you seen what Eddie ordered?
It's like, what is Eddie eating? He looks like he's happy eating that. It's
What is happiness
gross.
to you?
Happiness to me, I don't get this. You can't. I'm just kidding.
What is happiness?
I feel like I should. I haven't. It's a. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Okay, you had a really good answer. I just want to piggyback off that, but I guess I am very curious for myself on how, again, like kind of what you said, is how important is it for me to feel this emotion, and how frequently do I need it? Like what's the proper uh like you kind of said, like there is the satisfaction that comes with a lot of stress and a lot of planning and a lot of other emotions that take to accomplish a thing to get you in the place to where it's like, oh my gosh, happy, like this is where I like to be, this is my space, I'm very comfortable here, I'm very happy here, I love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I think about it like it's definitely been in the forefront of my mind for a while. I think about happiness as I've been associating it with like living in the moment, taking a step back and appreciating what you have and what you've accomplished, and like the little victories, like having more moments like that, I feel like can make an overall more enjoyable experience in life, where you're not
Mm,
so focused on this next thing that's coming, or regrets on things that have happened, or what you could have done differently. So I think
yeah.
a lot of it comes into the context of how you view the present moment in a way. So
Yeah.
I try to simplify things, and if, I don't know. I don't know as far as happiness specifically. I wish, I don't know. I don't. I'm in a similar vein to you. I don't put too much stock into, am I happy right now? No, I
Yeah.
don't really feel the happiness right now. Something is terribly wrong. I need to fix this. Like, that's not really the space that I live in. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
completely understand that. And yeah, we have a similar view then. I think, yeah, happiness is and
We're almost
sorry.
done.
But yeah, I think that there are so many different feelings that life is meant to be about, that I think, whenever people like, searching for happiness, if it was a pot of gold, I'm like, I don't know if that's what I want for me. Like, I want all the
Mhm.
feelings. I want the fear. I want the, once I'm all anxiety is fine too. I want everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that sounds, yeah, that's, yeah, 100%. That sounds great.
We have the
Um,
same hair. Have you noticed that? We have ours like those slight waves.
yeah, I was kind of looking at that too. Yeah. Except you did the talk on this side, and then you
Okay,
did.
maybe I can like have them both. Now
Oh, okay. No,
we
all right.
switched.
All right.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I feel like, unless there's anything, unless there's any topics that we left off the table that you were eager to bring up, or any sort of points or anything, I could wind us down here, because I think we're doing
Um,
great.
I wanted to ask you, so every field, every field of work there's always its downfalls, always its negative side. What would the negative side of just being production be?
So there's that's a very topical thing, actually. I know I posted about this on Instagram yesterday. Um, there's this whole thing going on. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the unions out here in film and stuff, because there's, like, there's SAG, the Screen Actors Guild for actors. There's the DGA, the Directors Guild of America for directors. There's the Writers Guild. There's IATSE, which covers like all of the kind of more of the general crew people, like script supervisors and caterers. And I might be wrong, but like grips and gaffers and like all those people are in IATSE. I think camera people are too. So the thing, that the discussion that's been right now, which it's been on my mind a lot, is the amount of time that it takes to just make stuff. Like, productions expect a standard 12-hour workday from everybody on set. The lower level people, like production assistants, are working over 12 hours. It's very common, even in higher levels of production, that you're expected, because you're getting paid, that you will work X amount of hours in the day, 14 hours, 16 hours, whatever it needs to get done to make our deadlines. Um, so that's kind of like the downside, is there are people that are realizing now. I don't know how they didn't realize it before. I'm sure they did. They just like, well, I'm doing the thing that I love. And then 10 years later, they're like, wait, I've worked so much. I don't have a social life. I don't see my significant other. I haven't seen my kids. Haven't seen my family. So there's this current I mean, that's definitely the big downside is if you want to be working in it, all your time goes to it. So
Yeah.
if, like for me, I'm a single dude, I'm young, and I want to, and I'm trying to get, I'm in the hustle, I'm in the grind of trying to elevate my career and get as much experience as I can, and like I'm here to work as much as I can currently. However, there is that thought of like, oh my gosh, this isn't what I want forever. Like I want the lasting relationship. I want to be able to prioritize my significant other over having to go to work that much, or I want to see my person. um,
Yeah.
so that has kind of been a thing for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's long work hours. And how is it like within the set? Is it, you know, because I think there are fields, different fields here and there. That's my impression anyway, because I've not explored other fields that certain places can be, everyone can be like a happy family, they can sort their issues, and some other places can be extremely toxic for your mental health. Like, how is it like with acting? Is it more of like on the peaceful side,
for the actors specifically,
or for production as
or
well?
just
Like, it's all of it.
so it's I feel like it's a very project thing.
Okay.
Because like for me, I work a lot in the independent non-union world, so the projects are usually shorter, and uh, I rotate teams very frequently. I'm just like, all right, I guess I'm with these people now. This is my family for this week or this month or whatever the thing is. um, I feel like it can definitely range on the experience with all of that.
Yeah.
Um, I know my best experiences are like, I know I've really enjoyed the when everybody has bought into the idea of this production, and we're even shooting like outside of LA where they put us up as like a team, and like they'll rent out a bunch of cabins and like pair people up in the cabins or whatever, and then we live together essentially for like 3 weeks. It's very like summer camp vibes where you're just kind of like hanging out afterwards and going to set together, and it's like,
That's nice.
it's a beautiful experience, and everybody is just solely, I mean, again, you're taking all that time away from family and friends and stuff, but it's, I mean, it's the best case scenario where you're with everybody that wants to be there, and everybody appreciates everybody's opinions and insights and respects each other. And so I have been on those where it's like a wonderful thing, but then there are some where you're not appreciated, and your opinion doesn't, they don't want to hear it, and stuff like that, where you're kind of just like feeling like you're getting in the way. And it's it can, and then you know do what you can to,
Yeah, but it doesn't sound too bad, to be honest. It sounds like normal level. I don't know. I'll take
yeah.
your word for it.
No, I feel like yeah, it's all about the way you present yourself and the way you communicate too. Like there's a lot in thyself that can control what the outcome is. And I feel like I try very hard to make sure I open up all the communication stuff very early on. So that way, if we do stumble on day one or day two, that's corrected and the rest of the experience is great. So
Yeah.
standard stuff.
Yeah.
But acting, I can feel bad for actors in terms of like there is a separation that happens on occasion between crew and cast. Like cast will, because sometimes you're not like there every day. For instance, if you're on a feature film, your character's only needed for these first few days, and you have a couple days off, and you're back for a few days. So you don't really have this consistency, and you're not always on set with everybody like the crew is. So sometimes there can be this isolation that happens with actors where they're on set but nobody talks to them, and uh,
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a
That's
disconnection there.
familiar. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if that's yeah.
That answers my question. Definitely does, because it's something like I always wonder about, like how is it like in different industries. Yeah, it's nice to hear like how the interactions are, human to
Yeah,
human.
I feel like we are very encouraged to be direct to each other. We're here on a mission, and it's very time intensive, and we're not going to be working together after. So we need to make this work now. It's just not an ongoing relationship. So there's a lot of pressure to just like sync up and get going versus the long-term like office politics that can happen in other fields and stuff like passive aggressiveness, and like we don't I like never have to deal with that because there's so much pressure on just
have to be you right there and there.
we gotta deliver. Yeah, we gotta deliver right now. We gotta make this work. We're best friends. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
which is
sounds good. Sounds efficient.
yeah, it has to be. But yes, all right. I don't know. Cool. I hope I answered your question. All right.
It is. It's something that it's a good insight for me.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess I don't know. I'm sure you're already great at it, but just please, as an actor, yeah, just talk to people. People love being talked to. Engage with the crew. Talk to the grips. Talk to the camera people. People love it.
I will. I only have 2 modes, like the mode where like I'm having my own conversations in my head and I'm satisfied with that, and I'm just like completely quiet and everyone thinks that maybe I'm depressed. But then I have the other mode which I'm like talk to everything and everyone if they don't look like they want to talk to me. So I can do that. I'll try to switch on talkative Emily.
Yeah, I mean, no, for sure it's that balance, because I know I can go into that self too, where I'm like, there's too much noise on set. I really just need to like get away and just eat my lunch by myself. Like that's definitely
tired Emily usually. So like if there's so much going on in my head and like I'm tired, I'm just like my social battery runs out and I'm just, in the evening time. But if it's morning and I'm recharged and I'm not tired, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. Speaking of evening, isn't it like nighttime over there right now? I forget. It's the end of your day, right?
7:00.
Okay, not bad. Yeah, I can't see it, but
7:00, believe me.
Yeah, it's 11 here. Very cool. All right. Well, I will say thanks for being a part. I'm glad we were able to make this work. Fingers crossed I can edit this very nicely for us, and I'll But where can people follow and keep up with all things Emili Ziem?
Okay, we'll go with Ziem. We'll go with that pronunciation. So at Emili Ziem on Instagram and on TikTok as well.
Oh,
mostly Instagram.
Okay, so you do have a TikTok.
Yes. And I'm trying my best to work it out, but I'm too much of a millennial. It's hard. It's a lot of thought to put into every video, and I can't do that. I'm mostly just voice over the Kardashians. I do Kardashian voiceover, so that's follow me there for that. It's not a lot of entertainment, but
great, cool. Well, I guess this is, for the sake of this being the first time I'm doing it this way, I'm gonna say I am going to hit stop record, and then I'll say bye to you officially after.
Well, I have to say thank you then. Thank you for having me. This is my very first podcast ever. I'll probably hear it over and think I sound stupid, but it was a very nice experience. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right, so thanks for listening, everybody. Listen, I don't know. I try to subscribe, comment, rate, all that kind of stuff, and bye-bye.